Hello, 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 and welcome back to DLA Alternative. It's your boy Brandon, and I hope everyone is doing phenomenal as always. And thank you as always to everyone who keeps subscribing, liking, and following this journey with us. We are on the road to 2K, people, so keep helping us get there. We are almost there, all right? So keep climbing and keep growing this family with us. But yes, as you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we got an interesting topic, all right? And this is just going to be a short little theory while I'm working on our Nina Project series theories, all right? If you have not checked out that theory, go check that one out, because that's basically just a briefing and an example of some of the symbolism that we get right in the intro of the Nina Project. But more importantly, I'm doing a whole series and I'm going to do deep dive breakdowns of every single part of the Nina Project episode. And I'm going to show you how so many connections connect to other seasons. And also how there's some hidden connections and some hidden symbolism in there that give us basically some answers to things that we might figure out in season 5. But more importantly, I want to give a huge shout out for this theory to one of the DLA Discord members, okay? So if you have not joined up, join up. And yes, that's probably my fault because I'm a dumbass and made that DLA Discord announcement and said I'm going to put the link in every single video, and I kind of forgot the past 2 videos, but I guarantee you that it is down below, so join up and join that family. However, I want to give a huge shout out to our boy Rhett Mitchell, all right, for finding this, all right, and noticing this, all right? Because as you can tell by the thumbnail, all right, the thumbnail picture, that's the picture we're going to be talking about here. But basically, I want to throw in some connections and show you how important this location actually is to this show. So, as we see in this picture, all right, we see our girl 11, and she looks like she's doing her void things where she's like searching for something, correct? However, we see her in this bus, which we know is from the junkyard, and it looks like she's doing this in the upside down, which is very interesting. But what you got to keep in mind is that this location has a lot of significance to this show. Mainly because there's a lot of firsts that happen here, if you have never noticed that before. Basically, this location is the very first place that Eleven and Hopper actually ever first meet. Also, right outside this location is the very first time that Eleven and Lucas basically have that moment where they apologize to each other and they have that friends don't lie moment. So basically, this is the place that Eleven becomes a part of their party for the very first time, right outside of this location. However, what you got to keep in mind also is that this is also the very first place that we ever see Lucas and Max, and we know our girl Max is gone in this season as far as we know. We know her physical body's there, but we don't know where her mindset is at, people, and we know Eleven's probably going to be searching for her. So that's something I've connected to this picture in the past and past theories, but you got to keep in mind there's more connections to this. Because basically this is the first time that Max and Lucas ever fully have a connection and really probably end up falling in love with each other. But also involving Max, alright, what you gotta keep in mind is that this is the very first place that Max ever experienced something from the upside down. Or more specifically, experience that there are monsters from other dimensions, okay? So keep that in mind. This place is extremely significant. But also what we're going to connect here, and what I want to give a huge shout out to Rhett Mitchell for noticing this, which just blew my mind. But how we connected all of these dots and these people, all right, we now get to the connection of monsters, all right? And we have one specific monster in this show that everyone knows and loves, being our boy Dart. So, as we know, within that scene when Max first experiences this is with Dart, okay? So that's very important. However, how does this connect to Dart even deeper, alright? Because as Rhett Mitchell noticed something, alright, we see that Eleven is holding a walkie-talkie in one hand. But what Rhett noticed, alright, is that Eleven is also holding something in her other hand, alright, which would be her left hand, but the right side of this picture. Which, if we connect the episode in the very last episode of this season, alright, the right side up, okay, that might be a major hint of how to find some secrets within these pictures. Maybe the right side of the picture is the significant part, and maybe that's the correct side, and maybe the left side is probably the wrong side. Who actually knows? But what you gotta keep in mind is what Rhett noticed here, alright? And I don't know if this has been noticed before, but we noticed this in the Discord and started talking about this, and I had a deeper look. However, we see Eleven is holding something else in her other hand, and it's very hard to see. So if you brighten this up, okay? Basically what I did, I zoomed in, okay, as you can see, and then I'm like, oh, that's still too dark. So basically I tried to brighten it a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's still too dark. And then I tried to brighten it a little bit more, and then all of a sudden I was like, boom! Bada, bada, Boom. Yes. Thank you, Rhett, for noticing that, because if you have not noticed what that resembles and what most likely that is, that looks like a Three Musketeers bar to me, or more specifically, just a candy bar. And as we have made all of these connections, people, okay, no doubt in my mind, there's major connections to all of this. However, we just got led on a main connection that led us back to Dart in a way. And as we see in our season 5 trailer, people, we know that the Demo Dogs are coming back one way or another. We see them, okay? However, as we see at the end of season 2, that same season, Max first ever experiences this shit, okay? Basically, we don't know necessarily if the Demo Dogs died. All we know is that they just fell asleep, and we don't know where they went after season 2 when the Mind Flayer technically wakes back up. So that gets very interesting here, and the fact that we don't know where they are and that all of a sudden we're seeing them in the season 5 trailer, this kind of raises suspicion about this picture. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. Thank you, Rhett, for noticing this, because the fact that he noticed this and just caught onto this and made us look more into this led to this theory. So thank you. But no doubt in my motherfucking mind, people, that is a candy bar that she is holding. And that walkie-talkie, we could just connect directly to Dustin, okay? However, we do have the fact that Max is missing, and Max has a connection to Dart within this place, okay? So that's just very crazy, and that's all I really wanted to talk about here and how we made this connection. But if you really want to connect, like, what that looks like, okay, then we kind of have a connection in season 2. Basically, if we jump to the Pollywog episode involving the fact that when we first meet Dart, okay, another first, basically, when we see Dustin feed him nougat with the Three Musketeers for the very first time, we get this shot that Dustin holds the Three Musketeers just like that. So my question to you and what I'm going to leave you with, and again, thank you, Rhett Mitchell, for figuring this out and noticing that. But what I want to leave you with, okay, is just I want to know your thoughts about this. Is what do you think that Dart is coming back? No doubt in my mind. But do you think Dart is coming back, okay? And do you think this scene is going to have significance to that? But do you think 11 is specifically looking for Dart for some reason? The fact that she has this candy bar, I mean, it connects to Max too, because they went trick-or-treating and all that shit. But no doubt in my mind, this could be a major hidden connection. The fact that they show us hints of Demo Dogs, but they don't show us Dart. So, no doubt in my mind, this might have some major significance, but if you want to connect, one more thing that I'm going to leave you with. Basically, in the Season 5 trailer, people, we have that scene, okay, of 11 jumping over the bus, or at least on top of the bus. And also with that trailer, oddly, we have a specific shot with a Demogorgon kind of jumping on top of the Bradley's Big Buy truck. So, no doubt in my mind, this might be a major hint that she is looking for Dart, maybe to try and find a connection to Max somehow. I really don't understand it just yet, but that's why we need to piece it together, and that's why we need more of you in the DLA Discord. So come and join the fun. Join the motherfucking madness is what we call it in there, alright? There's a lot of different unique channels, and it's been a lot of fun, and there's a lot of great people. So thank you to everyone in there, and specifically thank you, Rhett Mitchell, for figuring this out. But more importantly, I hope you guys like this one. This is just a short and sweet one while I work on those Nina Project Theory series videos. But keep subscribing, liking, following this journey, and you guys already know we out.